Hi, hello, welcome back to Bioenergetics. My name is Devraj, and we're back this week looking at the Reich home book by Jack Willis. Very interesting, long, but somewhat impenetrable at times PDF. And in part one of this series, I looked at some of the reasons why it's kind of so impenetrable, and some of the kind of, the forces likely impinging on Jack as to why he wrote it that way and that kind of thing. And now we're just going through some of these exercises and looking a little more clearly like how to do them. Or, to be accurate, my impression of how to do them, because I'm also not trained in Reichian breathwork, so it's just really based around my own background knowledge in the scene that I've been interpreting this stuff and putting it out. Just wanted to make that clear. So we looked already at the basic position for what I call the kind of charging breath, charging your body with energy, essentially, what Reich would have called orgone, with the idea that you charge it with fresh energy, and that will start to drive out some of the holding and stuck energy and areas of your body where you're not really feeling into it, and allow some kind of release. And let's get down and look at that posture. Once again, I'm on my back. Classic Reichian stuff, my eyes will be open and my palms down, and my feet are flat on the mat with my knees up, and my feet are about, hip width apart basically. They're not touching, it doesn't really matter, they're not super wide apart, just roughly like that. And then in this posture I'm going to breathe through the mouth, in and out through the mouth, very important, and fill up my belly and chest, and then without leaving a gap before the out breath, I'm just going to breathe out, and then no gap, and breathe in again. So it's called continuous deep breathing. And the initial challenge with it is to be able to do that. I mean, Jack Willis recommends for an hour. I would say at least for 20 minutes. And that really means do it for 20 minutes. Stay present in your body, performing this deep continuous breathing for 20 minutes. That of itself is quite a challenge. It's a challenge because as we start to breathe more deeply and we start to increase the charge level of the body, so kind of stuff, we start to hit our layer of unconscious stuff, to use more Freudian terms, the kind of shadow side or whatever you want to call it. And what happens is a kind of anxiety reaction. We tend to go into the mind, stop the breathing, space out somewhere, something like that. And that's caused by a kind of internally mediated neuroceptive process, to use a little bit more neuroscientific terms. But essentially, you have to be quite aware, and you really have to stay in the body focused for 20 minutes and to get this done. And when you can do that with relative ease, then you're ready to start changing it around and moving on. If you try and move on early, you're unlikely to achieve anything at all. You never know, but it's unlikely, because it needs a certain thorough journey that you need to go on, bit by bit, to really get to this place where, okay, I can now breathe in and out, deep, continuous breathing, staying in my body, eyes open for 20 minutes. And that's quite an achievement to do that. And when you've got to that level, we looked last week in, what you can then do is start to, in fact, the next thing that you can do really is to start to breathe by inflating your belly, and then just a second afterwards, inflating your chest, and then deflating in the same way. So that's kind of like, and what this does is it creates a much more silent breath, which is the idea. So it stops this kind of constraint that we do of the throat naturally when we try and breathe deep. We're normally making quite a lot of sound at a throat level. So once you've got to the 20 minutes with the deep breathing, that's the next step. And then we looked at also this exhale, making a slight R sound on the exhale, the vibration opens up the throat a little bit, and and vibration creates a resonance through the body, through the cells of the body, and can start a process going. So this was all covered last week in number 2, but So what's important with this R sound is that you're not self-conscious, you're not trying to make a video about it or something like that. You're just feeling into that R sound and trying to let it be natural with each time staying present. And now, assuming you've got this far, the next step is to look at belly only and then chest only breathing, which is what we're going to cover this week, which means basically I'm trying really to just breathe in and out through my belly. So I'm inflating the belly to allow air in. I'm deliberately not inflating the chest and trying to keep a separation between these two areas, from the diaphragm up and the diaphragm down. It definitely takes a little practice, and again, you want to be able to do this for 20 minutes. Just belly only, staying focused on your belly, so you're deliberately not inflating the chest. And you can also do this with the R sound on the exhale if you choose. But the main thing is to get to this stage where you can do 20 minutes of belly only inhaling. And if you want to be really thorough, you can set your phone up to actually, to film you. Have your top off and just check that your chest isn't moving. In the book, Jack also suggests some that you can touch certain parts of your chest to ensure that it's not rising. So you could also consider that, or getting someone to check part of your chest. Being thorough is a really good practice. And then when you've got that, we try the chest only breathing, and this is trickier. This is definitely trickier. So of course now what I'm doing is trying to just ignore my belly, allow this functional separation to be there around the midriff, the solar plexus, and just solely inflate and deflate my chest to allow air in and out silently. And again, I could add the R sound to that, but what's most important is that you can maintain something like that for 20 minutes before you move on. Okay, cool. So that's this week's look at the Reich home book. We're slowly going through this range of exercises, and I think soon we'll be looking at some of the slightly altered breathing techniques that Jack Willis explains. The gasp inhale and gasp exhale breath, I think they're called. I have to check that stuff out. But thank you for tuning in. Keep trying this breath work. It's a very deep practice, and I will see you again shortly for the next episode of the Reich home book. Thank you.